So we have one of our manual cider presses here. I'm going to walk you through some of the pieces that you'll be using to put the press together, and then we'll also show you how to get the grinder onto the main section of the press, because I think that's the most difficult part of the process. But from kind of the bottom up, we've got this right here. So this is the catchment, or the drainage cleat. So this is going to go down at the very base of your press. It's going to sit kind of right on these little platforms right here. And that's going to be where you'll stage your canister. So when you're ready to start pressing, you're going to want to go ahead and take your pressing bag. So it's just a fine mesh bag that helps keep all of the apple debris out of your juice. And you're going to line it just like you would lining a trash bag. So just go ahead and kind of have it sit in there just like that. And then this is going to go on your platform. So once you've got your canister ready, it's going to sit right on top of here. So you can imagine once we add the grinder, the apple chips are going to basically fall straight into the canister. When you're ready to press, you'll use this basically as what plunges down, but we'll kind of get to that in a second here. So in terms of getting the grinder on, this is best as like a two-person job. So while one person can hold the grinder on the frame, the other person can come in and tighten the bolts. If you do have a wrench, we'll be sure to kind of include what size wrench you need. It can be good to make sure that the bolts, or the nuts, are as tight as possible on there. So you want to make sure all of those are removed, and then just keep them in a nice safe place while you're working. And then you're going to pick up your press, and then you're just going to make sure that you have the sides here kind of lined up with. Yeah, so once you have your the grinder on there, we've tightened up the nuts. Again, you'll want to use a wrench to make sure that it's more than just hand tight, so that when you're grinding, especially if you're grinding with like young kids, the grinder's not going to pop off. So just make sure that you are able to tighten that down extra with the wrench. But yeah, after you get your grinder on there, you're pretty much ready to go. So you'll just adjust this to make sure that the canister is sitting directly underneath where the chips will fall out. And then you're ready to start adding fruit. So with this grinder, again, it kind of depends on how strong the person is that's pressing, but most of the time you can get away with just throwing in full apples. So you don't need to cut them in half, you don't need to pit them. All of that is going to get caught by the mesh bag, so you shouldn't need to clean or do anything with your apples.
You want to throw an apple in for us?
Nice. So once you have a couple apples in, Tegan, do you want to do the grinding?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're just going to turn it this way, and it might be a little bit difficult.
Nice.
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 Sweet. Yeah, we can throw another one in there. So I would say if you're working with young kids, I would probably do like 2 apples if they're bigger. But if they're little, you can do definitely 3 more.
Nice.
And then, yeah, I guess. So, you've joined us after we've done about 20 pounds of apples in the press. So all of the apple chips are down here. And so what we're going to do now is basically take the bag, make sure that you're able to kind of get enough to bundle it together. We just want to make sure that none of this makes it out into the juice. So you can kind of give it a little bit of a tug, free some of that up. But you're then going to basically just kind of bundle it up together, twist it to make sure that it's nice and closed, and then squish it down and kind of lay it flat. So you should have a nice flat surface for you to then put the plunger disc on top. So you're just going to squeeze that over, and then this whole thing will basically shift back so that the plate is able to be lined up with the lever here. So you can see it's, yeah, perfectly lined up. And then the fun part begins. So then you're just gonna bring this lever down. So just moving it clockwise, it'll slowly come down. And then as long as that disc stays nice and flat, you're good to kind of just keep on pressing it down. But what you'll see is juice will probably start to run here in the next little bit.